You're listening to the British Baseball Podcast. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Singapore's 22nd favourite podcast about British baseball, the British Baseball Podcast, with me, your host, Matthew Mutton, and I am joined today by the Women's Great Britain National Team Manager, Carlos Casal. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me and having the group of people that are going to be joining us tonight.
Yeah, and you brought along two people that you know quite well. We have player Mariana Casal and Carlos Jr. How's everyone doing this evening?
Very good, Matt. Very good. Very good.
Excellent. And thank you for coming on and agreeing to talk about the recent Euros in Montpellier. I couldn't get that bit right. So I'd just like to start off, Carlos, with you. There was quite a lot of interest and a lot of people putting themselves forward for the national team. Understandably, with it being such a huge and momentous occasion, how hard for you was it to construct a roster?
Yeah, this is a difficult part of being a coach and a head coach, particularly. We have good turnout on the tryouts, on the 3 tryouts, and the first cut was it was large. We had probably 40 plus women. We needed to reduce it to 30. Then we went down to 24 until we just reduced the roster to the 20 players that were allowed to travel with the team. Yeah, I mean, as ever, it's a difficult part of the job to motivate women to come and join the program, and then telling them, well, we're going to select only the 20 players that we believe are going to take us through the tournament. That's a difficult part. Nevertheless, we all the coaching staff always kept in touch and making sure that everyone post tournament is engaged and carry on training with us to make this program bigger and more successful.
Brilliant. And so, what was it like in the lead up to the game, Mariana? What was the mood like for yourself and getting there and leading up to that first game?
At least from my point of view, there was anxiety and nerves, but excitement as well. It was a whole mix of emotions. I think we all just wanted it to start. I think we all just wanted it to happen already, particularly before going to France. I think once we were flying there and we were a team and we were together, we got to calm down a little bit, and it got a lot more real, rather than the build up. I think the build up was kind of difficult, because you're thinking of all the things that are going to happen. I've been to a Euros before, but this one felt really different. And there was quite a bit of pressure, considering we were the first ever women's baseball team to go in Great Britain. But the response we got, particularly after that first game, was amazing. After that first game, obviously we were so happy and so excited. And I think some of us felt like we were going in as the underdogs. And then I think we didn't necessarily prove ourselves wrong. I know that we knew we could, but we didn't know what we were expecting. We didn't exist a year ago, and these other teams have existed for a while. So I definitely didn't think we'd win by that much on a first game. But once it started, we did see that we were strong, and we were together, and yeah, after that we had so many messages. We had the social media that we'd only created on the Saturday that we flew there, and then we already had so many people saying, wow, this is so great, and look what you women are achieving, history's made. And yeah, being part of history has definitely been an amazing experience.
Yeah, it was an incredible way to make your mark. 27-10 against the team that were going to be in the finals as well. Like if they didn't know who you were entering that tournament, you sure know who you are going forward. I think it was a great impression that was made.
Yeah, from our side, we were anxious as well. Obviously, unfortunately, I was only able to work for a short period with the girls before the tournament, but I know the other coaches have been working for however long, training and working really hard, getting the girls ready. And it got to that point where we were sort of like, right, we can't do anything anymore, and it's down to them. But no, they did an incredible job, and we couldn't be prouder, really.
Yeah, definitely. So, who would like to talk us through that historic first game on the 3rd of August, 2022?
As coaches, we always have the plans and all the schedules and everything documented and all the permutations on rosters and rotations. And so for that first game, we got together even before we flew to France. The strategy was to win that first game. We needed to win that first game. Although we didn't have high expectations. We couldn't show that to the women. That was going to put some pressure on them. But as Carlos Jr. said, and Mariana clearly said, we knew we have a team. Even today, we have a team that can cause some damage and some upset in the European baseball women world. So yeah, we prepared throughout the week. We landed on Saturday. We trained on Sunday. We trained again on Monday under 43 degrees. It was quite tough, but it was quite good for the women and for all of us, with to understand the temperatures and how do you deal with that. When it was an eventful week. I had my first technical meeting. A lot of anticipation to get to that. We had 2 women. We needed to make sure they made the roster. They had passport problems with the passport not being delivered in time, so they go there without a passport. We have proof of the rights to play. So, I mean, even though I had a lot of stress from that, it was so easy and so quick with the federation. The WBSC are amazing people. Honestly, they're very, very meticulous and very formal in what they do. Nevertheless, we passed the test. We had our women. We celebrated that night, and I made sure that, well, as much as you can, I told the girls, let's not be until late, because tomorrow we have a big game. We had our meeting in the morning. We had breakfast first. Go ready. We had our team meeting. Very motivational, very structured in terms of on the mental aspect, because at that point there's nothing you can say to them that they need to do. Everything has been given throughout the year and so that we spent training and all the plans that we had before the game. So they knew the strategy and they knew what to do in terms of the baseball side of things. Yeah, going into the game, honestly, as I say, I didn't have high expectations. Obviously, that's my strategy, always to try to achieve more. When I saw the first pitch, I honestly believe at that precise moment that we were going to win the game. We didn't build many runs ourselves. There was no many hits in the game. There was a lot of freebies, but nevertheless, we won the freebie game that day, and that's part of the game as well. So we impressed with baseball, definitely. We won it, definitely. That's a big achievement. Let's not take that away from the team. That's a big achievement to be there and to have the mental strength to wait and wait for the ball you want, and you see that ball is not the one you want to hit, but that's also very positive. I mean, we were all elated. I mean, the feeling was fantastic. Was happiness, togetherness, love. I mean, that's the only thing I can tell you. There was a lot of love when we won that game. How we performed during the game, I think everyone, kept the composure, remembering all our training, and performing and behaving inside and outside the field as the great team this is. This is a fantastic team. But then we finished that game, and I know you're going to go to that second game. But we went through things that we needed to work on. But yeah, in terms of preparing for that game, that was it. It was, as Carlos said, there's nothing else we could do more than motivating them, inspiring them to keep on working, and the rest, it was down to them. It was down to us to motivate them during the game, to keep that spirit high and keep them pumped. And I think we did it. So yeah, that was it.
Brilliant. Mariano, you said in an Instagram post that you put yourself outside your comfort zone in this tournament by trying a new position at catcher. How much pressure did you feel then going into the tournament in a new position straight away? And how does it feel knowing that you've inspired others to go outside their comfort zones and try new positions?
Yeah, that's a funny one because it was a couple years back. It was in 2019 that I kind of had a realization that I had a potential for catching. This came, it was an MLB camp that was happening, and I did this. I helped out with this demonstration. I was just there. I don't really remember why. I think my brother had a training or a game or something, and I just kind of popped my head in, and I helped with a demonstration for catching. And then Zach Grafser, who's still a GB coach, who's still a GB coach, and who's now in America. He said, "Oh, how long have you been catching?" And I said I'd never caught before, and he said, "Well, you should be." And so I kind of did a bit of work there. I asked Will Linter for some one-to-ones, and I did a few sessions to get kind of the basis of it. And but then I kind of didn't really dedicate myself to it, and I just kind of kept where I had done work before. I think maybe a part of me also thought it was too late to go to a new position when I wanted to be at a high level. I don't think that now, but yeah, I kind of dedicated myself to working on middle infield, and in the past 2 years I've played NBL and AAA as a second baseman, and yeah, I felt comfortable there all season. I'm with Richmond AAA right now. I've been playing second base, but then at our GB sessions over the past year, I've been working on catching, and also at the couple of women's league games I've played at, and so I guess I was seeing myself as as very utility, and yeah, not really diving very deeply into catching. And yeah, first game of the Euros, I'm the starting catcher, and I was of course very nervous. And I had an amazing pitcher pitching to me, Chloe, from BVI, and she threw very fast. She threw in the 70s, which isn't something I was used to. But I had to learn quickly, and I couldn't kind of rely on, someone else is there, or, oh, I'll be better next time. It was, I have to do this now. And I learned a lot, and there were, from one inning to the next, I was already making changes, and realizing things that made it easier for me, or different ways that I could block and things like that. And pushing myself to do that, and the necessity of having to do that made me realize that I'm better at it than I thought, and I have potential to be a lot better at it. I have a lot to learn and a lot to work on with it. But now I know to put more effort into it, and I know that it's a position that I really do love, and do want to spend more time at. And hopefully next season I can spend more time there, and hopefully even catch some faster pitching. That would be great. So I'm going to spend a lot of time over the off season, over the winter period, working on that.
Awesome. And what was some of your favorite memories around that first game?
Just stepping out onto the field. Thank goodness we acclimatized the days before, because it was hot. It was so hot. I want to do a shout out to the girls who were sat on the bench, because they were amazing. They were amazing. We'd walk in, and particularly me with all the gear on, I'd have one person taking off my right guard, the other person taking off the left one, another person bringing me water, another person putting a wet towel on my head, another one filling up the water, because I would drink 2 liters between each innings, and putting electrolytes in it. I for sure overdosed on electrolytes. I had way more than the packet said I should, but it kept me really alive, and it kept me going. And I guess the adrenaline just keeps you going as well. You don't really feel the heat. You don't realize that there's sweat in your eyes. You don't realize that your jersey is soaking. But it was amazing. It was really, really amazing to have that experience after so long waiting for it to happen. And after it having been cancelled last year as well, it wasn't completely certain that it was going to happen until this year. And so I think after all of that anticipation, after kind of all of that stress of thinking, oh my goodness, people are going to be watching, and we have to prove that we do deserve to be here, and that we are a serious team. After all of that anticipation, it was just amazing just to take that field. From the moment we went into the dugout that day, and then lined up on the first baseline and took off our hats, that was really, really amazing. That was like a goosebump moment. That was a good day.
Excellent. Yeah, it was a great moment, and I think everyone watching at home as well, it's so proud to see everyone lining up. It was a fantastic thing to see. It's one that will long live in our memories as well. Carlos Jr., who for you on the day was some of the standout players? I mean, there were a lot of great performances on the day. I mean, we could pick from the pitching from Chloe or Una and Kirsty. There's many players had great at bats. But who do you think were the standout performers you'd like to give shout outs to?
That's a really tough question. I mean, you've already named a few people with incredible performances. I'm gonna take the easy way out here. I don't think there was one particular performance really. You could go through everyone, both on and off the field. Like, everyone was vital to that win. Everyone did their job. Shout out to Ben as well, one of the other base coach. Hot out there, and he was the one having to actually think of the signs. I just had to collect equipment from players at first base. So yeah, no, I know it's probably not what you want to hear, but from a podcast point of view, but yeah, honestly, they were all incredible. I don't think I could give one standout on or off the field.
Carlos, do you want to add anything, or Marianne, do you want to give shout outs to anyone too?
Rob, from the head coach point of view, first of all, I'm going to say the highlight is the entire experience on that game one. For me, we're standing on the first baseline and singing the national anthem with my entire team. That to me was a moment of pride that I'm gonna treasure for the rest of my life. That first one, we did it 3 times, but that first one was extremely special. It is, by the way, the first time I'm standing on an international stage singing the British national anthem. I always sang other national anthem, international national anthem, but that was a moment of extreme pride and emotion. Best player in the game. There's no best player in the game. Everybody did the job. Everybody performed to the high potential on that day. Honestly, if I have to pick someone to say that help us move on that game, it probably will be Laura Bales. She was in the dugout and outside the dugout doing all those little things and big things that make us perform. And without Laura, we would have been exhausted, and we would have many heat strokes and definitely players and coaches removing themselves from the game because. So I would say the biggest performer of that day was Laura Bale. She didn't know what to expect. She never been in that job before, but none of us were on that job before. But especially she wasn't. That's not a real baseball related job, but she had that job. She took it. She took it with pride. And honestly, on that day, we wouldn't have done anything without Laura. That would be my best player.
Yeah, she was great. She was our mother. She kept us all in line for sure. And I think she was also someone everyone could kind of depend on, lean on. She was great, and she was very, very organized. She always had any snack we wanted, which is important, and also our bottles, because she was getting so frustrated at us having them all over the dugout. She put a number on every single bottle of people's jersey numbers, and kept them in buckets of ice in the dugout, and said that everyone had to have their bottle in there. And yeah, so she was great, and obviously she washed all our stuff, and yeah, she was good. And then a shout out also to my brother, who was the one you can probably see in pictures that people have posted. He was the one kind of doing the getting us pumped at the beginning of games. He would get us in a circle and just start, like he said, this prayer that I'd heard before in other GB games that he'd played in, and everyone was saying, "Oh my god, that gave me goosebumps." Yeah, he was really, really pumping us up and making us scream, like making us really shout, and you could tell that some of the women weren't at first that comfortable with shouting. They were just a bit like, "Oh no," shy, until we just got pumped. Then everyone was shouting, and some people were laughing. So I don't think they'd even shouted that loudly before. We were really really pumped, and yeah, he was really great, and yeah, I think people looked up to my brother a lot, which was cool. And then we mentioned the pitchers, but then also shout out to Amy for getting the first hit of the tournament, which that's very historic. So yeah, that was great.
And Laura Harai as well, being like the first up to the plate. Like, I'd love to know what was going through her mind, being like the first person ever, like at the top of the order. Yeah, that would have been such a feeling about. But yeah, it's great. Carlos, can you share with us that prayer? Or is it a GB secret? Do you have to make the cut to find out what it is?
I'll be honest, I plagiarized it from someone else who plagiarized it from someone else. I'm not even sure it's the right one anymore. We can have a chat afterwards and I can tell you the prayer.
Oh yeah, there we go. Yeah, I'll take that. Brilliant. So that sort of brings us on then to game two. Do you think that the highs of game one affected the way you went into game two at all?
I think that's probably one big reason for that. Weather also was a big factor, but we remember we're all humans, and probably 90% of this team were not used to go and play in big tournaments. It was overwhelming the previous day, but then when we went to face the Dutch, with whom we were sharing the hotel, we knew them. We'd seen them in the morning. We've seen them training, and we know a little bit of strategically. We've been scouting them for quite a long time, so we knew what they were going to bring. But things didn't go our way. You could see players underperforming, and we thought it was down to pressure. We thought it was down to weather, but we could see that even in the dugout, not only on the field but in the dugout. Something happened that day. There's one thing, Matt, I need to mention. We didn't follow the same routine that day as the previous game, and as we did on the last game. In our meeting, we didn't follow our preferred method to motivate and to get into that mental state. We were short of time. We need to get that quicker than the previous day, because we were home that day, so things were going to be quicker, and we were going to be first, which is a complete different scenario to the first game where we were away and we were the last one to do BP and infield outfield. So that changed a little bit the dynamic. So the bus that picks us up, which we're sharing with the Dutch, were there first to pick us up. So everything was quicker for us, and I guess probably down to me that I didn't plan that accordingly. So we didn't have our routine. We rushed a little bit our meeting. We say what we needed to say, but that little aspect, on the mental aspect, that wasn't followed that day, and I will blame big part of our underperformance to that. We talked about that. We made corrections, and well, it will take us to the last game, which you could see the results.
Yeah, was that then the biggest thing that you learned from your experience while you've been out there was the preparation side?
Definitely, preparation is a big aspect of anything you do. It doesn't matter if it's sports or anything. Indeed, I think is a big part of that on the results. It was the preparation on that specific aspect. We prepare for everything. We prepare for contingencies, but I probably underestimated the fact that we needed to have more time for ourselves before we went on that bus. So yeah, I think that mental aspect is extremely important. That's one thing I just been working with this group of women from day one when I joined. I always said that we need to concentrate on the 80% of what is important, which is the mind. The other 20% is what we know, and is how we can all our skills come into those 20%. The rest, is the most important part. And yes, I think that probably was a little failure on that day, not going through that particular. It's only 3 minutes exercise, but we didn't do it. And I think consistency is extremely important when you have a very short tournament.
Mariana and Carlos Jr., what are your memories then around that game to the defeat to the Dutch?
Yeah, I think from the beginning of the day, it felt different. Whether that's to do with the routine, whether that's to do with the tremendous highs from the day before, whether it's to do with something else, I really don't know. But yeah, something did feel off from the beginning of the day with everyone, not just the players, coaching staff as well. And yeah, it was definitely a kick in the teeth. I think I don't think we were arrogant going into it, but it definitely didn't have the same underdog feeling from the day before, which made everyone sort of dig in and grit their teeth. And it was tough. Yeah, no way to describe it other than tough. But yeah, I think everyone sort of after the experience was able to take a step back and regain composure, let's say. Yeah, everyone that day, I think it was a free night that night. Everyone sort of recharge, recover. So everyone supporting each other after the game, going out and just having casual dinner with everyone, chatting, and yeah, I think the team helped each other. Like no one person brought themselves up. Everyone brought each other up, and yeah, it showed how good of a team it is. And for them to then bounce back how we did against France, I think it just shows off all the hard work that everyone's put in, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everything you said was correct. You know, we maybe we didn't go in with the underdog feeling. Yeah, that was a big lesson that day. I think having the high the day before kind of exhausted everyone mentally a little bit. I think we woke up pretty just not pumped like we had the day before. And I think we also, I definitely felt an extra pressure because we saw the day before how capable we were of winning this tournament. And we'd also seen the game between France and the Netherlands, and we saw how capable we were of winning. And I think that pressure added a bit of a strain to our performance. Maybe we weren't used to that pressure, or you know, it was just different. I wasn't on the starting roster that day. I did get told I was going to relieve pitch, and I think the pressure for me as well. You know, I'd never pitched in such high circumstances before. Yeah, I hadn't pitched in such big games before. And again, it's not one of my first positions. And I had a lot of time to overthink it. And then when I did go into the bullpen, I was throwing strikes each time, but I wasn't trying to throw hard or trying to throw fast or trying to do many funny things with the ball. I just I was probably throwing 60-70% of my throw just because I guess I didn't trust myself for a second. I just thought, as long as I get it into the strike zone and don't walk people, which hindsight is a wonderful thing, because now I don't think that was the right thing for me to do. I think I should have thrown hard, and and I would have found my groove. Even if I maybe walked one or two people, I would have found it. But it's done. it is done, and we all learned lessons that day. It definitely was a game we could have won, but we didn't. And as my brother said, we picked each other up. We picked ourselves up. We realized that we had to have a different mentality the next day, and we came back really strong. And it might be seen as a shame what happened with France, but I think that was really impressive. They've been alive for a long time. They've been to the Worlds. They've competed against really strong countries for years, and there we were, this close to beating them, and we had been beating them for the majority of the game, and it was just at the end that we just couldn't quite hold on anymore. And maybe that's just due to lack of experience in this, as a team, and also in this environment. But I think it just goes to show what we learned from the second game and the third game.
Yeah, it was that game 3, the defeat to France, which ended up 13-12 against a team that went on to win it. It was edge of the seat stuff. What were your memories around that occasion?
Oof, lots of crying at the end. Well, that was so tough to lose because we had that. But I think that is our biggest achievement. I know we won our first game and that was historic. And they came runners up as well, so that was that's really great to be able to tell people. But that last game, I think that intensity and I mean, even the fans, shout out to the fans, I forgot about that. We had a lot of people behind us supporting us who were even crying at the end as well.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the support later on. They'll get their time to shine, I'm sure.
Yeah, the support was amazing. But yeah, no, that was painful. That was really painful losing that. But as I said, it was one of our biggest achievements, and amazing to be able to say that we did that with France.
Carlos, Senior, do you want to jump in as well with your thoughts on game 3?
Yeah. So I mean, this was a different mind game. I talked to the players and I said to them, we need to change something, and that something has to be offensively. We have a good defensive team, but we haven't shown the world what we're capable of offensively. So I only told them one thing: I said, don't wait for the first pitch, just change it. Sorry, just go for it. You should see the ball, hit it. So I think the bats got going, and that motivated everybody when they realized they can hit the ball, they can find the gaps, they can get on base on line drives, they can score. When I started to see that from the first inning, I knew that we were onto a big achievement. I told the players before we went to the tournament, we have a trophy already, just going to this tournament. There's no silverware. The silverware is already with us. And with everything that Mariana described on that game, and everything I've seen in terms of the strategy, everything was followed to the T. All the strategy, everything that we planned was followed. Every player was put in the best performance ever. That simply polished that trophy that we gained by going to this tournament. So definitely one of the motivational messages to the girls was that we won the tournament by being on that position on that day, by scaring France, by scaring them. Listen, I don't know if you've seen that on the video, but the head coach, which is a very experienced coach with Major League Baseball background, he was kicking the dirt. He was frustrated. He was out of his comfort zone. He didn't think these underdog were going to achieve this. He was making changes. I could see that he was making changes. He was trying to distract our players in any way, shape, or form, And when I saw their players taking the hat off when in frustration, when we were scoring, we were overplaying them for a long period of time until that sixth inning that changed everything. So I think having that experience, having seen every single player achieving more than they were expecting to themselves, I knew they were capable of doing that. But that to me is simply the highlight of the entire tournament. All these players, every single one of them, performed to the highest level. They overachieved their goals. And for me, having this coach, Canadian coach, twice after the game, telling me, we didn't win this game. You guys have an amazing team, and I see you guys doing big things in a very short period of time. So to me, that's only pride. And then when after all the emotions and we went behind the field onto a rugby field for the girls to cool down and to do the routine, and I was about to talk to them. This coach was walking past with his family, and they all stopped and said, or even his wife said, "You guys are awesome, and you need to take this as the best thing for the women's sports because you are amazing. You are awesome." I mean, that to me is just fantastic. And he said to me, "Let's share numbers. I want to talk to you. Let's do bigger things," which I did with the other coaches as well. Everybody wants to do for women's baseball because ultimately this is what it's all about. Just
Indeed.
to increase the women's in Europe and in the world, because even worldwide they're suffering the same thing. There's not much presence of women, and they're scared to be overpowered by the men and that type of thing. So we need to get rid of that stigma and make sure that we work all together to make this happen. And this guy was telling me that to me is only fantastic. I shared it with the girls immediately, and I said, "You don't need to feel shame. You don't need to cry. I mean, cry is fine. I was crying. That's good. That's good for the human body." But I said, cry with pride, because what you achieve is out of this world.
Yeah, definitely. Did you have any parting advice then for the team when you went your separate ways?
We talked over there on the field. I gave them my view on how things went, what the expectations are for the future. We're gonna be together. There's a lot of plans to be involved in more international baseball as in the spring, during spring, and that's going to raise our level in preparation for 2025. Some advice. Well, we knew that following day was going to be a free day, but in terms of baseball, I only kept their heads high and making sure that they were feeling well with themselves and with the team itself, and stay together and keep that love that was before the tournament and even after the tournament. Even that day, you clearly could see the love between each member of the team and the pride that all these women had for each other. And we all the coaches send that message to them. Let's keep this going. This is only the beginning. There's a long way to get to where we want to be, and definitely we are in a better position than we thought before we went into this tournament.
Yeah, definitely. We've touched on it before about the support out there. It was loud on the YouTube stream. You could hear, if it wasn't the GB bench, it was the support of the people out there. Do you want to touch on that a bit more?
Yeah, we were loud. We had a nice number of fans. And supporters. There were family members and partners. And yeah, it was really, really great. Because they were so in it. They were really, really there for us. And you could see it afterwards. Everyone was hugging everyone, not just their own family members, not their own girlfriends or daughters or nieces. Yeah, there are all sorts of family members. There was, everyone was really, really behind everyone. Even the documentary guys who came, one of them was tearing up and hugging us, going, "That was amazing. You've given us such an amazing story, and we're so glad we got to be here, and you're amazing." And it was they were a huge, huge part of it.
And it was great to see Doris out there as well. I mean, she put so much into getting this program off the ground, and it was great to see her being able to enjoy the fruits of the labor as well.
Yeah, definitely. It was great to see her. And of course she was a huge support as well. Particularly that day that we were crying. Even the day before, when I wasn't too happy with my performance against Netherlands, she spoke to me, she gave me a hug, she was like, forget about it. It was really, really great for her to be there, and it proved how dedicated to our team she is.
Yeah, I wish I could have been there in that first game, sat next to her watching that. That would have been there's been some fantastic things that have happened throughout the summer for all the GB teams, but that is the one thing I wish I'd been there to see, was just see Doris in that first game. I would have loved to have been there with her for that one. Carlos Jr., do you want to add anything else?
No, yeah, just to echo what everyone said, the supporters were incredible. Family, friends of everyone. Well, by the end of it, we were all just one big family, really. It was, everyone. When I said on and off the field earlier on, that included them. Without them, it was definitely, or I should say, with them, it really kept morale high. It kept the girls going, and they had people behind them. And yeah, just big shout out to them putting up with the heat. And
they also joined in with our kangaroo court on Saturday. So do you know kangaroo court, Matt?
Jonathan Crammon has told me all the ins and outs of kangaroo court, so yes, I'm familiar.
Kangaroo court, everyone knows kangaroo court. So it was my brother on the first day, maybe one of the first days. He spoke to everyone about traditions, and it was this whole speech. He stood up, he basically had a microphone about traditions and the importance of traditions, and then explained to those who didn't know what it was, what kangaroo court was. And Chloe from BVI, she was given a little Peppa Pig sparkly bag, which I don't think is something she would have, the type of style she's into, which was very funny. And yeah, loads and loads of fans. I think the kangaroo court, it took us like 2 hours, but yeah, we had some of our supporters join in. My mum and actually gave some fines. I think she gave one to me, which was nice. But yeah, that was good. We did really become a family.
That's brilliant. Are there any other tricks? Like, I know J Rod has like the new people to the group do like jokes, dad jokes and stuff like that. But was there anything that you set up within the team? What was the team ethos like? What did you install them within these traditions and
Well, obviously,
bits and
we took them
pieces?
all through the typical initiation, because obviously this is a first travel for any women's baseball team. Everyone was a rookie, so everyone had to get involved. So we went and found the most public spot in Montpellier, and at the top of our lungs, every single one of us screamed the national anthem, which the French people absolutely loved. I think they like the British anyway, so.
Yeah.
Um, but no, yeah, I think it was just off the field, everything was casual and upbeat, fun. It really helped everyone to gel on the field.
Brilliant. So I suppose the next question is, where do we go from here? What the next steps for the women's national team? How do we build on this tournament?
Yeah, this is a great opportunity to build up into all the plans that we have and all the possible additional plans that we can add to it. We're gonna start our training sessions again in September. We have 3 dates, 3 different months to do that. There are plans to start, as Mariana mentioned, she's going to be a dedicated catcher. So strategically, we have some plans, moving some players from other positions and dedicating training for those positions to make our team more robust and give us more pitching depth as well. So there are big plans, and I like to say that we're going to follow the plans that we had that we set out last year. But as you said clearly, Matt, it's important that expression. We need to build up from this experience, and this isn't any experience. This is a fantastic achievement, any way you see it, and everyone involved in this team, all these 26 people that worked tirelessly throughout the entire year, and the other 3 that stayed behind from our preliminary roster. Doris, all of us need to work tirelessly to make sure that this team continue to progress, and we overcome these little glitches that we had in the tournament that didn't make us, that didn't allow us to get through. Certainly, as I said to someone in GB, we had so many positive to take on and some opportunities to work on, and that's what we're going to do. We are going to take this team and the rest of the women from the preliminary roster, and I'm sure that there's some other women that were motivated by this, and they're going to join us, and the work is, I hope, and that's what I want, the work never ends. If we're going to prepare women for the rest of our life and they come in and we prepare them, they come in, I am prepared to do that. And that's why I accepted this job, because we were going to motivate many women and girls, and that's the hope, that we start getting other age groups and inspire them to be part of this adventure. Because, to be honest, as I said to them all, having a European tournament is not a goal; it's only an opportunity. As everything else, you're gonna have opportunity to play here, to play there, to play domestically, to play internationally, not only on the WBSC championship, but in other arenas. But that comes with preparation and dedication, and that's exactly what I want to do with these plans and with this group of coaches that we all engaged and prepare to do that. There's a lot of sacrifices that are going to happen from our point of view to achieve that, but we are all prepared to do that.
Yeah, fantastic. What can the clubs, the British baseball clubs that are the homes of many of these players, do to help you in the off season?
Yeah, that's a very good point, Matt. Certainly, the WBUK is fantastic. Is growing, and that's an area that will need some help as well to raise the standard and to make sure that women can experience in there a high level of baseball, particularly the women that are part of the women's senior national team, not relying that much on be part of male side of the game to experience that high level. It's going to take time to get to that point, but I've seen the progress on the tournaments. Before we went to France, I went to watch more than a couple, 3 or 4 games, different games from WBUK, and I have seen the progress on that side. But from the clubs, from the established clubs, there's probably more opportunities, create more opportunity for women, allowing them to perform to the highest level, working with them. And I can only highlight Richmond because, well, I belong to that club, but I can tell you from the AAA side, even from the other leagues, they are very interested in helping women and giving them opportunities, and they treat them very well when it comes to competition. They give good advice, and one thing which is really important, giving them that sense of belonging, that they belong in that team exactly the same as everybody else.
Yeah.
Until the point that we can have a very strong women's league, that they won't need to. It will be a choice whether they want to join the male side of the BBF or they're just going to play and get the women's side of the league stronger.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be my only advice, just to make sure that every club that allows women to play, give them many opportunities to show what they're capable of. That will increase their confidence, self-confidence to face all the challenges that obviously they're going to face when they face a team of a male team.
Yeah. It's great to see as well. The Women's Baseball Europe Twitter account announced the other day that Bournemouth Bears have also now created their first ever women's team. So there's more and more opportunities sprouting up for women to play sport. It's fantastic to see.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Carlos, do you want to add anything, or Mariana, do you want to add anything else?
I mean, I think definitely more and more women are getting motivated. But I think the next step with growing this, as well as helping to improve the skills of the women who are interested in playing and who are already playing, and helping them to push further and to face people who are better than them or stronger than them, for them to grow. I think the next step is doing something to get girls involved who may not be seeing what's happening with the women's leagues, because a lot of women join baseball because their friend tells them about it, but right now we don't have many girls who are playing. I was just lucky because I was grown into it because I was watching my dad and then I was watching my brother. But a lot of girls around the country don't have that. So it would be really good to find a way to get girls informed about it, whether that means we, go to schools, or we try and organize coaching sessions or clubs. and spread that word, which hopefully the social media will also help with, kind of reaching further places that it's not reaching yet. That would be an amazing step for the future, if we're looking long term, so that we get a new generation in, and also, the younger you start being coached and get good experience and get opportunities, the stronger our future teams can be as well.
Perfect. Yeah, well said.
Yeah, just to add to that, hopefully we can use this tremendous trip to help kickstart that process. It would be a shame to lose the hype that we've gained, and lose all the respect that was most definitely completely and utterly earned. So yeah, hopefully we can use that to move forwards.
Spot on. It's tradition on the show for the guests to have the last word. So I guess we have 3 last words. Carlos Senior, do you want to kick us off with anything you want to do? Any shout outs, any parting advice?
In 3 words.
As many words as you want. You've got
All
6
right.
minutes.
You put me on the spot. 3 words. Look, this experience in the Euros is a humbling experience, and I only hope that every player, I'm sure that every single member of this British traveling team, feel as proud as I feel, and feel the same love as I feel for each one of the members of this team, and build up from this experience something bigger, something greater for their life, first of all, for themselves, and bring it into the women's baseball program to get this going and to make this program as big as it is on the male side. We have many opportunities with age groups. So my only advice for everyone is rest, recuperate, relax, work hard, and let's see each other on the baseball field soon to keep the work we started in April last year.
I'll go next. Yeah, like I alluded to a tiny bit earlier, I was only part of the program for a short amount of time. As much as I wanted to be earlier, I wanted to be part of it for a long time. I'm very grateful that I'm part of it now, and yeah, looking forward to continuing to work with the girls. And I couldn't be prouder of the team that went out, and just women's baseball in the UK in general. It's a great stage right now, and I'm looking forward to being part of the growth.
Yeah, well, I got myself some new heroes in this tournament, like Daria Malone on third base. I was like that's who I will be when I grow up. She was brilliant. Yeah, superb.
She's a star. Yeah.
Mariana, sorry to cut you off.
No, of course. I am grateful to have been a part of this experience, and for this to continue. The women I got to share the field with are amazing, and I hope I can continue sharing the field with them for years to come. And I am excited to see where this will go.
Yeah, well, that's meeting you both and a lot of other people out there as well that were glued to their screens throughout the whole tournament. You did the nation proud. It was fantastic, and we wish you all the best luck going forward. I did forget to mention as well, did you know that you had 2 out of 5 players in the batting average leaders? You had Amy Trask, who was third with .444, and Daria Malone, my spirit animal, there in fifth with 4.429. But also RBIs, you have 3 out of 5 there as well.
Wow.
Chloe Sutcliffe, she had 6. She was joint with a Dutch lass and a Czech Republic lass that I am not even going to try Announce the names. I forgot. I got Mariana's name wrong before. I'm not going to have any joy with these. But yeah, Amy was in there with 6 as well, and Daria got 5 too. So yeah, 3 out of 5. Some great building blocks. Yes, very excited for the future. And again, I really appreciate you all giving us your time to come on and share these stories. It's been superb to get some more insight into what's a great tournament, regardless of the results. It was historic and it was fantastic, and I appreciate you all and all the players on the roster as well. Keep going. Let's keep working. And yeah, great stuff. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Matt. It was a pleasure meeting you through this channel, but I loved it.